And welcome to the Howard Eskin Show. I'm excited. I'm usually excited. I'm always excited when I do the show, but I'm really excited tonight because I think the world of my guest, both professionally and personally, is a wonderful guy, and that would be the best head coach in the NFL. The best, not even a question. That would be Andy Reid. But before we get to Andy, I want to tell you, I want to always thank the company and the man that helps present this program, the show title sponsor, and that would be Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell can help you a lot with any part of your wealth. Good guy, great guy, knows his stuff. If you want to get a hold of Jeff and have him help you out, 732-343-0813. That's 732-343-0813. All right. After we speak and have our conversation with Andy Reid, there's some things that I want to address with the Phillies. An event that I did yesterday. It was a dedication to the Eagles' last Super Bowl win, which obviously has a little bit of a connection with our guest tonight. And we'll talk about the NBA. But first, I want to tell you about Audi Westchester and the new 2025 Audi A3 Quattro, and a special price for our viewers and listeners, $439 a month for the new 2025 A3 and the 2025 A5 Sportback for only $529 a month. Only you, our listeners, let them know that hey, listen, I want the deal. $2,500 down plus taxes and registration fees to lease the new 2025 A3 or the 2025 A5 Sportback. Audi Westchester, 1421 Wilmington Pike. Great prices. Check them out on the internet, AudiWestchester.com. That's AudiWestchester.com. And you want a pool. Doesn't everybody want a pool? Yeah. See how nice that pool is? Piazza Property Pros can help you out. And they're cranking it out. And they are really good. 25 years of experience. They don't subcontract, which makes it good, whether it's landscaping, fencing, pool maintenance. They have got you covered. Piazza Property Pros. Trust Piazza Property Pros. Give them a call, 610-566-2608. That's 610-566-2608, piazzaoutdoor.com. And you want to save money on your internet? Save it with Cutting the Cord with Jason. Jason offers an incredible service. He'll save you lots of money. Here's his number, 215-801-5858. That's 215-801-5858. Okay. I told you he's a special guest, and he's a special coach, and he's a special guy. Let me welcome into the program the best coach in the NFL today and maybe all time, and that would be Andy Reid. Andy, welcome. Time's yours.
Great to be on your show here, Howard. I feel like I've gone back 14 years here, and I'm sitting there with you, enjoying you on the radio.
I tell you what, the podcast world is great. And by the way, Big Dom says hello. So he heard you were going to be on here, and I know you stay in touch with Dom. Dom is great, and great in so many ways, and we both know that. But so are you. All right, so let's get started here. You have coached 26 years, 14 with the Eagles, 14 with Kansas City. How does coaching remain fun for you?
Yeah, I get to do something that only 32 guys in the whole world get a chance to do, and that's be a head coach in the National Football League. So I respect and love that part of it. I also get to be around a bunch of guys that are good guys, good people. And so as I get older, as you can see, those guys all stay the same. All right. So I'm seeing the same faces, just different names and personalities, but they're young guys, and they keep you on your toes.
Well, yeah, but you have to keep them on their toes too. That goes to one point. I make a point. Players rarely get respect and love towards the coach, and if you have both, you got it locked in. and you have a lot of people that used to be here, and I talk to those people, and they'll go to your players will go to the wall for you. How do you get both? You have to be firm sometimes. How do you get both? The respect is one thing, but how do you get them to also love you and what you do?
Yeah, I think most guys just want you to be honest with them. And so in today's world, sometimes that's hard to get is an honest answer, good or bad. And, and so I try to do that with the guys and treat them right. Listen, I come in thinking the best of them, and then let's go from there. Let's pick it up and take it from there. And if you're willing to work hard and do all of those things, I'm gonna try to hang with you in my part of it, and work hard and make sure we've got it all together, and then go play. So keep it relatively simple. These guys love to play the game, as you know, and that's really when you get through all the meetings and all the media and all the stuff that comes with it. They really just want to get out there and play.
You know what? Okay, so how do you, or how long does the last game, which is your last loss, which is the last game of two team seasons, how do you get over that? Or how long does it take to get over the loss to the Eagles in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, sure. They got after us, man. I mean, and more power to him. Coach Sirianni's done a heck of a job there. He got himself a nice contract from it, and he's sitting there living in the high country there in Philadelphia, which is great for him because he works so hard. And listen, that's a great city, and they deserve that game. They did a great job. So. I think, listen, Howard, I think if you're honest again with yourself, and then your coaches are honest with themselves and the players are honest with themselves, we all could have done a better job. We give credit to the Eagles. They got after us. We had a good football team, but we didn't play our best game then, and we all could have done a little bit better. And so as long as the guys, I try to keep my ears open after the game, all the media that you have to go through after winning
Right.
or losing. You've got to hit all these different media outlets. And so I listen and keep my ears open, and my guys took responsibility for it. And each one of them that spoke said, listen, I could have done better. I could have done a better job. And I think if you take that approach, you have a chance to be halfway decent the next year, and be a good football team. If you're pointing fingers at each other and saying you stink and it's all his fault and this and that, I mean, you're probably going to get your tail kicked the next year. So, but I think our guys have done it. They did a good job right after that game. And those, as you know, that's an emotional game. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that in this business. And so when you lose, it's not the best feeling in the world. But again, if you're willing to attack that part of the whys, then you can, and you're honest with it, normally good things can happen for you.
Jimmy Johnson said, he probably said it to other people, but I know he said it to me, and he said it to, I'm sure, many people. A loss hurts so much more than the excitement that you get from a win. Is that the feeling that the way it turns out, you get a win and you're excited, but a loss just sticks with you longer than the excitement of the win? Is that reality?
Yeah, so I think anything that you do that you exhaust yourself, I compare it to like studying for finals, but you're doing it every week for 17 weeks or 20 weeks in case if you're going to the Super Bowl. I mean, if you're really exhausting yourself, and then you go out and you don't perform your best, it hurts. I mean, it should hurt. That's how it goes. You didn't win whatever that challenge is. So so that yeah, they do. The losses hurt. With the wins, it just kind of keeps the flavor a little sweeter in the office. But as you go through the next week, but you're kind of putting it back. Okay, we won that one. Okay, let's go get on to the next one here, and let's roll. Let's get whatever we need cleaned up and move on. So you don't think about it quite as much.
You know what? It's so hard to keep teams together when you just get to the Super Bowl, let alone win it. So how difficult is it? You won 2 in a row, but you went to 3 in a row. And then what was it? 4 out of 5 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, how difficult is that? You know, you lose players. You can't help it. They go somewhere else, they get more
Sure.
money. So how difficult is that? And you guys did a pretty good job of it, but it kind of caught up to you, I guess, last year. The Eagle, your offensive line, let's be honest about it, just couldn't contain the Eagles' defensive pass rush. And, you know, that's part of reality. But how do you keep a team together when you win?
Yeah, that's a tough thing because you have this thing with the salary cap, and both our teams are lucky to have. We're lucky to have Brett Veach and his crew that does it here, and Howie Roseman and his crew do it in Philly, and so we've been lucky to stay competitive here for a number of years, and because of that. But you've got to really maneuver around that salary cap. Now we don't push as much money forward as maybe what the Eagles had done. So it's a little different dynamic in how we get to the point of getting these players. But at the same time, we've been able to replenish with some good guys, and as Philly has. So it's but that's one of the tougher things in this job. I mean, there's such a small margin between winning and losing in this thing, and you've got to if you have good coaches and your players aren't up to snuff, then you're probably not going to win. If you have good players and your coaches aren't up to snuff, then you're probably not going to win there either. So, but if you have that combination, if you can figure out how to get that combination together, you stand a chance of competing at least for a championship.
You know what? How do you stay? You see Nick Sirianni, and I think Nick's a terrific coach. But he's very emotional on the sidelines a lot of times. Sometimes you got to stay under control, because there's always something next. But how do you stay so calm? And I've seen it, and you see everything that's going on. I've noticed that. But how do you stay so calm on the sidelines? I got to tell you, I like emotion, but how do you stay so calm?
Yeah, it's I was born with red hair somewhere along the line, so I had this. I
You don't
used to
have
have
it
a
anymore.
temper. Yeah, I don't have any hair at all, but and what I've got isn't red. But so there was a temper there that I had to kind of control when I was younger. I was a big kid, and big kids with a bad temper can be an issue for the little guys, and so I learned to control that, and I just kind of carried that over. I think through my through my late teens and into my, into the college. So it worked out okay, at least most of the time. But that's what makes the world go around. Nick does a heck of a job, and his emotion helps drive his team. I mean, I think the guys feed off of that, and so that's okay too.
You know what? They in Philadelphia, you know how they are. They always go after the head coach. You kind of were used to that. And they go after Nick because he's too emotional. They went after you because you weren't emotional enough.
Sure.
I mean, it's different in Philadelphia than I'm sure it is in Kansas
that's what's
City.
so great about Philly. I mean, Philly's going to be honest with you. They're going to call it like they see it. I've been lucky to be here in Kansas City. It's the same type of thing. I mean, the fan base here is unbelievable, and even though it's the Midwest and it's supposed to be poo-poo, it's not. That's not the way it is, man. These people are into it here, and the kingdom gets a little crazy. So they're gonna. We're lucky, and I've been lucky to be at 3 places with a educated fan base. So between Green Bay, and then Philly, and then here, these people know what they've seen some good football, so they know what they're looking at and what they want, and they're behind you 110%. So I mean, I always got that. I didn't let that didn't bother me in Philly. That part, I mean, I understood where they were coming from.
Yeah, it's they're different. I mean, I remember. I'll go
Well,
back.
listen, you're one of them, so you got it. You're putting, you know.
but I'm emotional, but at least I try to get it right. You're not always right. You've yelled at me a few times, but we get over that. But it's just I go back, and I was really happy for you. You knocked on the doors so many times after your first Super Bowl. I remember seeing you on the field. I have a photograph of it when I saw you on the field before you went up on the stage. Joe, let's put and I was so excited for you. And that was your first, I believe that was your first Super Bowl win. What was that like to win finally win a Super Bowl?
Yeah, no, I waited a while, Howard, just so you and I could hang on to each other there, man. Um, it it uh it was a great experience. I mean, so much time and so many times we were right knocking on the door, as you'd say. We were right there and couldn't pull through. I wanted to get one in Philadelphia for the city of Philadelphia. It didn't work out. It came close, but it didn't work out. But coming here and being able to get that. It was there's nothing like it. There's nothing like winning that son of a gun, man. It's just it's a great experience, and it's hard to explain to people, but it's really something. I mean, it's football euphoria, I guess. It's the highest of highs.
You know what? You've only had, and it's amazing I had to check a few times. You've only had two losing seasons in 26 years, the way I looked at it. And you had to learn things over time. What did you learn? I remember when I first met you, you were all alone. You just needed some company at that Super Bowl news conference. You were reading the newspaper.
Nobody wanted to talk to me. Well,
yeah, right. You're reading the newspaper, but don't worry about it. Nobody reads a newspaper anymore anyway. Yeah. But what have you learned? Okay. And then shortly thereafter, I think that was in San Diego when the Packers were in the Super Bowl. What have you learned as a head coach over years? Your years in Philadelphia, and then you move on, and then you go to Kansas City. I guess we all learn every day, but what have you learned?
Yeah, I've learned a ton. I mean, this thing it's crazy. It's a crazy business. There are a lot of ups and downs that you have to deal with. I would tell you that being consistent, I think, is a big thing. I mean, players kind of want to know how to get from point A to point B, and we probably all do in our own world. But and let's not like throw a bunch of hurdles in there, other than the hurdle of playing these games. Mm-hmm. I mean, those are big enough hurdles. So, but let's keep it consistent, and let's keep it simple, and let's work hard, right? Work hard and be honest with ourselves, and go forward, And so I've tried to keep it that way over the years. Now you learn a ton. I'm probably a lot softer. I joke my wife. I mean, now that I've got 13 and a half grandkids, I've got one in the oven here. So, I mean, I think I tear up watching Bambi. I mean, I'm going, come on, man. I mean, this is crazy. So, I never was that way in Philadelphia, but that's part of life, and I think you appreciate it more the older you get.
Well, the one thing I learned, and I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you ate 2 Tommy burgers every day after school. I mean, I went there one time when my kid was out at USC. Yeah, you got to go to Tommy Burgers. Well, wait a minute. Yeah. And it's all things with the chili and the mustard and the ketchup and the cheese. How did you?
Well, listen, you were raised on cheesesteaks. I mean, Tommy's wasn't that far off of a cheesesteak, so about the same amount of grease in each. But it's
right.
Yeah,
it's crazy. All right. The other thing that you do, and you do a lot of things well. I mean, I don't want to minimize the other things you do great. You can identify, it seems to me, and other people, you can identify a quarterback. You identified Donovan McNabb before you drafted him, and then you identified Patrick Mahomes. Let's first deal with the McNabb situation when all these nitwits in Philadelphia, and the guy on the radio in the morning was killing you because he wanted Ricky Williams. It wasn't even the best back in the draft. But you identified Donovan McNabb and he's a really, really good quarterback. How did you identify Donovan and identify quarterbacks?
Yeah, it's crazy, kind of similar situations. At that time, Tom Modrak was a general manager, and he had Mark Ross as his college coordinator. Mm-hmm. And Mark Ross was loving Donovan McNabb. And really, between Mark really selling me on Donovan, Now I had some background because Coach Pasqualoni had come to visit me in Green Bay a couple
Hmm.
years in a row, and had told me when Donovan was a freshman, he said, "I got this quarterback that I think is going to be a heck of an NFL player, and he's just a pup right now, and I kind of want to learn a bunch of different things from you here, whether it's a screen game or whether it was some of our zone run game, and I want to incorporate it in there along with some of your pass game." So he spent a couple years with us coming down in the off season, and so how's Donovan doing? Oh, he's doing great this year. He had a great year last year. He's doing great coming up. He's worked hard. So I felt like I knew Donovan before I met him. And then Mark Ross stood up on the table for him and said, "This guy is unbelievable." So, and then when we come here, um, you know, I've got Brett Veach who comes with me.
Yep.
John Dorsey's the GM, and then Brett's kind of his chief scout guy and college scout guy, and he goes to Dorsey and he goes, "Hey, listen, I've got this kid, man, in my area, Pat Mahomes. You need to see him. He's the best I've ever seen." And so, then you get as a coach and as a general manager, you dig in if you trust the
Hmm.
guy that's telling you that. So with Mark, I dug in on Donovan, and then I really spent a ton of time looking at him, met with him, and I think as many times as you can meet with a guy in different environments, whether it's in his school or whether you bring him into Philadelphia, you meet him at the combine, Senior Bowl, wherever it might be, spend as much time as you can with them. I think that helps. You kind of figure out what they're all about and kind of how they see things. And, then we did the same thing with Patrick. And, um, and when I was in Green Bay, I had Brett Favre, and Brett didn't do it conventionally. He didn't play the position conventionally.
Right.
You're not
No.
going to put Brett on and go, "Okay, here's a fundamental, everything's perfect." I mean, that's not how he played his game. But he played the game, and he could see and he understood the game, and he had great instincts, great vision, great feet, good athlete. But it was a little bit different than, say, Joe Montana. So, and those experiences kind of teach you. You don't have to do it. Try to work with your guy. Try to work with his strengths, and let's see if we can't add things on each year that can make him even greater than he already is. But let's try to work with his strengths and see if it can't fit into your offense.
Okay. In Philadelphia, you were new as a head coach, obviously, and everybody wanted Tim Couch, who turned into be a stiff. Not a good quarterback. I'm talking
Yeah.
to you, so I won't ask you to use that word. But Donovan was the best quarterback that I remember in that draft, that I can remember in that draft.
There are a
But
lot
what
of them in that draft.
I know
There
there
were
was a
like five of them that were
okay.
pretty good.
So you get all the nonsense from the people in Philadelphia, and you're new as a head coach. How did you not let that affect you? You're new, you're trying to make an impression on people, and everybody, including the governor, wanted Ricky Williams. I mean, how do you stay away? How did you that early in your career stay away from
Yeah,
those kind of
that's where the
distractions?
red hair came in handy. I say I'm stubborn that way. So, the listen, if you have a chance to get a good quarterback, a franchise quarterback, you take the son of a gun. I mean, they're too hard to find. And so we all felt Donovan was a franchise quarterback, and
Mm.
and so we took him. And the other people, they've got to go on whatever they don't know that part of it. They're not passionate about that part, and that's why they're good mayors or good governors. And then Angelo, he was all part of that too. So I'm gonna use his name. You can't use his name. Or not willing to use his name.
He
So
was on. He was on one of the podcasts.
yeah. Oh,
Oh
was he?
yeah.
Oh, good,
Oh
good,
yeah. I mean,
good,
so,
good. So
but he still
yeah.
buried you. He still buried you on the podcast. He
Oh yeah, he
still
buried me
rips
the
you.
whole time I was there. But
Still buries you.
that's all right. I'm a better grave digger than he is, man. I'm just So yeah. Um, but the mayor, I still remember being at the banquet there, and the mayor came in with the Rocky music playing with Ricky Williams on his shoulder and that whole deal. And and I got a kick out of it. I thought it was pretty funny at the time, and I got kind of a kick about the passion that he had for him. But I still was going to take Donovan.
Okay, so with all the things that have happened to you, you had that situation. You're at news conferences, and I know you told me one time, and you can say where you got this kind of approach, the coach that you played for, uh, but you never shared anything of any real value. I'm being of any real value at your news conferences. Times yours, all this nonsense. But there was a mistake made. Well, I forget how you said it, but why did you? I mean, telling the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
How did you? How did you continue to do that, and knowing people were killing you for it?
Yeah, I think when you're in this thing, coaches always stand in front of the team and they go, "Okay, listen, we're the only ones that are in this boat. We're all in it together, and we're going to keep this thing afloat. But we have to do this. It's not what happens outside of here. It's what's in this room right here." You say this normally when you're in the team meeting,
Right. Yeah.
and so I tried to live that. I promised the players, I'm not going to I'm not going to throw you under the bus. I'm going to come to you man to man. If I got a problem, I'm coming to you. And it might not be what you want to hear, but I'm going to shoot you straight. But I'm never going to throw you under the bus out in the public. You got a tough enough job as it is. I'm asking you to do something within a split second, make a decision here that is going to help us win football games. And I don't want you to hesitate at all, thinking that I'm there
Mm-hmm.
going to criticize you every 2 seconds. So, but I'm here to teach you, but I'm also here to let you know if you kind of get out of line on what I expect, for expectation. So I try to stick with that. At the same time, I knew the media, they don't want you to come as a clown. They don't want that. I mean, I watched other coaches that did that. It's all fun and good entertainment, but you're going to get, you're not really, that's not what I'm not in this to do that. There are other times to do that. Besides that, there's a time and a place for everything. So, and then I wanted to make sure they got at least a little story that they could write on. So I tried to bring a little something to it without throwing people under the bus. I mean, it was about that simple.
You know what? You protected some guys, and they love you for it. I don't want to say what it was. Deshaun Jackson was a great player. Shady McCoy was a great player. And you had to kind of reel them in at times. And because you didn't say anything, you think that helped reeling and using those two guys as an example, because I know the situation. You think that helps by you not criticizing and then you can reel them in after that?
Yeah, listen, I think it paid off for them as guys. I mean, they're both doing well today. And
Right.
that very easily could turn when a kid's young and he's out doing some things, that young kids do. And those two happen to be two of the youngest. Shady definitely was coming out of the draft. And you get these young guys and they could go either direction. But if you look at the big picture of things, which I tried to do, and you want them to turn out where they're halfway decent down the road.
Are you still the same way at news conferences? You don't share a damn thing?
I don't say, I don't say much, but I try to say whatever. I try not to lie. That's what I try not to do. Coaches,
Okay.
I try to, whatever I'm going to spit out there, I'm going to try to make it the truth, and I tell the players the same thing. I mean, you don't have to tell the whole story and but tell whatever you say, make sure it's the truth.
All right. I got to give you some props because you helped me sell one of my bobbleheads. I'm going to show people the picture. It's just, I raised a lot of money for charity, which I still try to do in different ways. But that was the second bobblehead. And how about you? What a great, that should go in the Hall of Fame. When you
Well, how
go in
many
the Hall of
people,
Fame.
how many broadcasters have a bobblehead? I mean, there's like one. You are it. There's not a lot of bobblehead broadcasters out there, man. So
well, I'm one of them, but that's one of them. So we've had our moments, and I couldn't find the picture. Darn it! But one game, and I think it was Christmas Eve, and luckily you guys won the game. I got all dressed. Took me an hour to get dressed before the end of the game as Santa Claus, and you won the game, and you're walking off the field. And I'll just give you a reminder of what I look like as Santa Claus, but I don't have the picture of you and me on the field, and you're looking around and you say, "What the hell?" Do you remember the moment when I walked off the field with you as Santa Claus?
No, I remember I had you come over to the house. I said, "Hey, can you come over? Can you come to the house and like hand out some goodies to my kids, you know?" And then you came over, which I thought was hilarious. My kids were young, and my oldest daughter was young, but she knew what a Rolex was. She goes, after you leave, she goes, "Dad, does Santa wear a Rolex?" I didn't know that. I said, "Well, this one does."
Well, that's
So you almost destroyed all of mankind. Right?
Yeah, well, that's what you said to me when we're walking off the field. You're looking around and say, "What the hell is going on here?" Walking off the field, and I'm walking alongside you, and then you see the watch and you see the Rolex. You said, "If Santa's wearing a Rolex, it must be Howard Eskin."
Yeah.
Chip Kelly said the same thing. I went into a news conference with him as Santa Claus, and he saw the Rolex. I guess I got to take the watch off if I want to try to remain anonymous. But you know what? The thing that I think, and this is just me, and I appreciate you. I mean, I remember the time she yelled at me. One time you're walking into the news conference and I said something on a report on the sideline. He says, "Don't you dare ask me that question in the news conference." So then okay. So then after you're done, I walk in your office and she just won by 20 points. And you're worried about what I'm going to ask you in a news conference. And then 30 seconds later, we're laughing. And I announced Stuart Bradley's injury before you did. You got pissed off at me. Hey, it is what it is. And then, these people in Philadelphia think you are time management. You have to call a timeout because the guys aren't lined up correctly. So I found out, and I won't say who it was, one of the guys wasn't lined up correctly, and you had to call a timeout. You're inside the 10. And then I said on the air, he says, "And why did you have to say who was not lined up correctly?" I says, "Because there was an issue there. And I found out who wasn't lined up correctly." And, and then we got over it. But I don't see, the thing is, I don't mind you showing your emotion to me. And you did it not a lot of times, but you yelled at me a few times, which is okay.
Hey, listen. Yeah. I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, I know, because
Time's yours.
Time is mine. Well, you know what? I do appreciate that. And I'll ask you one last question because somebody has a comment here on the show, sent in a comment. What is you're going to say the Super Bowl, but outside of Super Bowls, what is your finest moment in football? It's a tough question.
You know what? I would tell you, it's not necessarily the Super Bowl. It's being able to win an NFC championship or an AFC championship at home. That is a very high. And now I leave Philadelphia and come here. We were able to do that in Philadelphia, and it was a nice cold day or evening, and we win the championship to go to the Super Bowl, and every fan stayed. Everybody was there, and you're at home, and there's just something special about it. Come here, and now there's even a little bit more spice to it because it's the Lamar Hunt Trophy. So, I mean, how great is that? Here I get to hoist the Lamar Hunt Trophy
Right.
for the AFC Championship, and then hand it, or at least hand it to Mrs. Hunt. And I'm working with the Hunt family there. Lamar's passed since,
It's
but
great.
I mean, there's nothing like that. Those are high highs in this business. But some of the other things that people don't understand. I mean, I see these guys come in here. Some of them from the smaller schools might never have even been on an airplane. They come in, and in a year or two in the business, they have a chance to buy a house. I mean, how great is that? And then they're able to save some of their money and do some good things. You mentioned Shady and you mentioned Deshaun. I mean, here you've got a guy that's making it in the business, in your business, and then you've got a guy that's a head football coach at a college. I mean, that's something. And to see that, I mean, I'm proud of those guys, like I am for my kid. You know, you appreciate those things.
You know what? I will say this. Jeffrey Lurie, and there's always an expiration date at some point on a coach. And people always ask you when you're going to retire. Don't retire until you want to retire. Don't that's again. I'm tired of people. Again, I remember I asked you that. Well, I got Patrick Mahomes. I ain't going anywhere. When you won that first Super Bowl. But the thing is, Jeffrey Lurie is a great owner. The organization, the Eagles, is a terrific organization. But now you have a lot of people from the Eagles. Mark Donovan is your president, and he's a terrific guy. And Clark Hunt, I met when you agreed to terms with Kansas City. It's funny. It was at Atlantic Aviation where you agreed to be the coach of Kansas City. So I waited in the lobby because I knew the people there. And luckily, you guys let me stay there. And I just waited and wanted to see what happened. But I got to meet Clark Hunt there. And what a wonderful guy. It's just, it's nice when you work for people like that because then it makes you, I guess, feel a little better when you do something for them. And that's probably pretty much what you just said there.
Yeah, no, been very fortunate to have worked for two great owners. Green Bay didn't have an owner. It was the board. Right. But, I mean, Jeffrey Lurie was phenomenal. And then I go from there to Clark Hunt. I mean, it was just, I've been so fortunate that way. And I'm still close with Jeffrey and close with Clark and, have a ton of respect for both of them.
Yeah. Well, Andy, I appreciate you're coming on. I always had fun talking to you, even when you yelled at me. I said, he's yelling at me again. But that's okay. I don't care. Yeah, at least
I was doing that for the fans. I wasn't giving them anything in the press conference, but I was giving it to you.
Yeah, well, at least I wasn't part of those idiots that wanted Ricky Williams instead of Donovan McNabb.
No, that's right.
At least I wasn't part of that. Hey, good luck. You got another year, but and then you got to forget about the people in Philadelphia won't forget about the Super Bowl, but I'm sure you at some point you got to say that's it. Next, right? And that's pretty much the way you got to approach it.
I'll go out when you go out. How's that?
Okay.
I just want to read your book.
Okay.
You've got a phenomenal history of Philadelphia sports and also of all the major leagues here, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, you've got it all. And I hope people appreciate that. So as controversial as you are a gym. So that's, I hope people appreciate you for that.
Well, thank you for that. When I write the book, there's some things I can't put in there because then they're going to have to get rid of me. I mean, they're going to have to put me in the river.
That's all part
somewhere.
of Philadelphia. We'll find you at the bottom of the school killed, man, my man.
Yeah, well, pretty hard. It's still dirty. But anyway, thanks, Andy, and good luck. And it's always great and fun talking to you. And I'm going to make sure Big Dom always stays the way he is because you're not here to control him anymore. He needs to be controlled.
Right there, man. He's the best.
Yeah. All right, Andy, have a great day, a great week, and have a great season coming up. Take care.
All right, Howard. Appreciate you.
All right, take care. You too. Andy Reid. He really is. People didn't really know. They didn't really know the real Andy Reid. They really didn't know the real Andy Reid. He's got a great personality, but he didn't want to show it. I see, Pat, great conversation between two Philly icons. And I want to tell you, when I have people on the podcast, it's not an interview. It is a conversation because it's just two guys shooting the whatever. And that's really a part of it. So he just, but yeah, I remember when people were killing him over McNabb. I don't think they killed him in Kansas City over Mahomes, but to go from 27 to 10 in the draft, that's not really easy. All right. There's some more things that I want to touch on. Absolutely. But my thanks to Andy Reid, and hopefully people enjoyed that. I want to talk about the Phillies. I want to talk about the NBA, but I also would love to tell you, because he's an important part of this program, because he's the presenting sponsor of this program, and that is Jeff Stillwell, Stillwell Financial Advisors. You got something, not something, you got some wealth that you want to invest. Jeff knows the deal. He knows what to do. He's, a regular guy. He'll explain it to you. 732-343-0813. That's Jeff Stillwell, 732-343-0813. Also, I want to tell you about a great deal. When I say a great deal at Audi Westchester, Audi Westchester has a deal for you. You're the ones that are seeing this or hearing it. Leasing a new 2025 Audi A3 Quattro for only $439 a month. New 2025 Audi A5 Sportback for $529 a month. Those two deals are really great deals, and they're not going to last long. So, if he who hesitates sometimes is going to be lost and you'd lose the deal. All you need to do is put $2,500 down plus taxes and registration fees. Lease a new 2025 Audi A3 Quattro, Audi A5 Sportback, 36 months, 7,500 miles per year. Stop by Audi Westchester, 1421 Wilmington Pike. This offer won't last long, I'm telling you. Get it while you can. That's AudiWestchester.com. AudiWestchester.com. All right, you want a pool, and you waited too long to put the pool in, but you can at least talk to Piazza Property Pros. Great people. They know what they're doing. Whether you want to take care of your grounds, you want pool renovation, whether you want landscaping, fencing, and you want a new pool, they make pools better than anybody. 25 years of experience. They don't subcontract. They do it right. Top-notch craftsmen, and their work is done by their people. Whatever you want, you can trust Piazza Property Pros. Let me give you a number, and they'll work with you. 610-566-2608. That's 610-566-2608. PiazzaOutdoor.com. You want to save money on your cable? You can do that with Jason. Cut the cord with Jason. Offers an incredible service. He'll come out, cut your service off, set you up with new internet service with streaming channels. People don't quite understand. When people have called Jason, they don't quite understand what it is. It's not just getting a box. No. That's not what he does. He sets it up. You'll get all your national channels, all your local Philadelphia Pro games. You have a second home. He'll install that, same charge. Jason can set it all up and save you money. 215-801-5858. That's 215-801-5858. All right. A couple of things I want to talk about. I want to get to the Phillies, but before I do that, I was honored to be the MC at a dedication out at Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, Spikes Trophies out in the Northeast. There was a mural put up there to dedicate, there's the mural, to dedicate it's a dedication of the Super Bowl wins. Both of them are up there. The last one, Super Bowl 52, and then the current one, Super Bowl 59. Mural Arts of Philadelphia was obviously behind this, and to do that. And there's some other, the artist, David McShane, there he is. David McShane was the artist for this fine project. And again, I was honored to be the MC at this event. And that was Tuesday at the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, Spikes Trophies. Fans came out there. I'm trying to help this guy out and trying to explain a few things to him, doing that. But it was all part of a great midday afternoon out there for this dedication. All right. Now, I want to touch base with the Phillies. And I'm going to ask this question, and I may do that on Saturday. By the way, Michael Gano, thanks. Great interview with Big Red. As he said, he doesn't have red hair anymore. Doesn't even have hair anymore, and it's not even red. But thanks, Michael. The King, Mark Wolf, the King interviewed the King. Nice job, Howard. Thank you. Memory lane is always good because there's a lot of good things to remember from Andy Reid, and I appreciate the comments. awesome interview. That was what was it? Mark Wolf was the King interviewed the King. What is that? Whatever a life gaming. I don't know. Awesome interview, Howard. You have a lot to respect from some of the greats, a lot of respect from some of the greats. And you know what? I treated him fairly. I treated him fairly. And I said what I had to say. And I knew there's times when Andy Reid wasn't going to be happy with me, yelled at me, got it out of his system. And, we moved on. He couldn't do that with the other media guys, but it's okay once you understand that somebody's trying to do their best. And Andy understood that. All right, the Phillies. The big question is, are they good enough? I've told you in the past, I do not think they're good enough. What should the Phillies do? Maybe we'll have one show and we'll discuss that. Maybe Saturday we'll discuss what the Phillies should do, all your ideas, and then I'll tell you what my ideas are. I don't know that they're there. I don't know. I really don't know that they're there. I was at a business function. Kenny Dunnick, who has a couple of magazines over in New Jersey and has a business group. I remember talking to one of the guys there, and we talking about the Phillies, and he says somehow Bryce Harper came up, and I said, right now, and again, right now, after 14 years, Bryce Harper's not a Hall of Famer. Oh yeah, yes he is. I says, well, tell me why he's a Hall of Famer. He says, well, he's won 2 MVPs. Okay, he's won a World Series. I said, no, he has not. Washington won the World Series the year after he left. So he has not won a World Series. Well, he drives in 100 runs every year. 14 years, he's only driven in 100 runs. He's only had 100 RBIs twice in his career. Twice. Once with Washington and only one. And he says, oh, he's got it every year with the Phillies. He has 100 RBIs. No. He's had it once with the Phillies his first year. That's it. So he's only driven in over 100 runs twice in his career. 345 home runs is not a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's going to get, matter of fact, I'd be shocked if he gets to just 400, and that's not Hall of Fame level. If he just gets to 400 by the end of next year. I know he swings for home runs, and that's why he's always hurt, because, it's so violent. It's such a violent swing. I just don't, there's a lot of things. They don't have a good enough outfield. Nick Castellanos is actually not a bad guy, but you can't go off on the manager. And I'm sure he used a 4-letter word, and he was probably more than vocal about it. You can't do that. He took you out for defense. Big deal. Big deal. It's in Miami, so you're not going to get another at bat anyway. He took you out, so you took him out for defense. Big deal. And the other guy's better defensively. It just. He's got to get over that. I don't know if his contract's up at the end of this year or the end of next year, but there's some people that won't be there with the Phillies next year. But their window, here's the problem that I see. Their window is not open much longer. And I don't know if it's open now. I don't know. They're picking up players for cash considerations. I mean, that's not going to do it for them. I don't know what they're going to do at the trade deadline, because they don't really have anything to trade except the younger players. And you don't want to get caught in that trap. The general manager in the past at his other teams, Dave Dombrowski, has traded away young players, but I don't think John Middleton, by the way, John Middleton, I know he donates a lot of money to charity. He's got to stay out of the, baseball decisions. He's just got to stay out of it. You hire a general manager and you let him do the job. But right now, I just don't think the Phillies are good enough. And then I want to touch on the NBA. I don't know that anybody's watching. Nobody I talk to watches the NBA finals. They just don't watch the NBA finals. It's like, why would you watch the NBA finals? It's two good teams, but it's just the game is just not good. Just not good. It's just not a good game anymore. It's a broken product. And then I saw where the player out of Rutgers, who's Ace Bailey, who everybody considers as the third pick in the draft, which the Sixers have, refused at one point to work out for the Sixers. I don't know if he's eventually worked out, but he's refused to work out for the Sixers. I don't know what's behind that, but it doesn't matter what the Sixers do. They've screwed up the third pick in the draft. They screwed up the first pick in the draft. They screw up everything. And Daryl Morey is the last guy I want making those decisions. But feel at ease. Daryl Morey admitted, and he's at ease. He's at ease because he's using AI to help him evaluate players. Not Allen Iverson AI. AI. AI, yes. Yeah, artificial intelligence. It's unbelievable. And I'm going to leave you with this. There's a really good event, and I support the two I support all SPCAs, but the two SPCAs that I know of in Delaware County, Brandywine Valley SPCA, and Providence Animal Center. Well, Brandywine, I can tell you, Brandywine Valley SPCA has an adoption event this weekend, July 21st and 22nd. Now, on the screen, if you can see it on the screen, that QR code will get you to Brandywine Valley SPCA, the adoption event, so you can register. They have a lot of good animals there, dogs, cats, the doggies, the cats, the whole thing. And it's a great event, and they always have a lot of people. And I suggest, and hopefully it's not raining and it's not too hot, I suggest you get there. You get there this Saturday or Sunday. So, Nicholas, thanks for your comment. I don't call myself the king, but you can do. You can call me the king anytime you want. So, but whatever. Get out to that event. Thank you. Thank Andy Reid. Thank everybody. And if you want to be alerted to the podcast, I tell people, subscribe to YouTube. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple and Amazon Music are audio, but the first four are video and obviously the audio. But subscribe to YouTube. You subscribe, you're notified whenever I do it live. It's easy, so you'll know when I'm coming on. Thanks to everybody for being a part of the Howard Eskin Show. And we'll see you on Saturday morning at 8:00. Thank you, and have a good night and a good day tomorrow.